In 1858, gold was discovered in Minnesota's Zumbro River. This sparked a small gold rush that only lived about a year. But the question I have is there any gold left? Now, according to the historical marker, men were finding $2 to $6 worth of gold a day. Now, I don't think inflation is added into that, because by today's standards, $2 to $6 worth of gold is not a lot of gold. But back then, considering a 1 ounce gold piece was only worth $20, $6 worth of gold, that's quite a bit of gold. This is the Zumbro River. Now, I don't know exactly where the mining outfit was, but I have access to this land, and there's a gravel bar right here. So, this is where I'm gonna be mining today. Now, looking at the till, I see some igneous rocks. There's some quartz. Actually, that looks more like quartzite. So the first thing to do is take a test pan. Now, oh my gosh, really sandy. There's a little gravel on top, but then it's just all float sand. That doesn't look too promising to me. Now for float sand, there's actually a fair amount of black sand in there. Question is there gold? Well, no gold in that one. Let's take some more test pans and we'll see. So right here we kind of have some faster moving water, and it looks like this is a kind of a man-made section here, but it's acting like a sluice box. And I see some gravels that are built up in these bigger rocks. Maybe there's gold there. It's really hard to shovel with one hand. It's a struggle to get this footage. So in this sample, before I even pan it down, I see some nice chunks of quartz in there. And that's a good sign. Look at these riffles, they're just packed with black sand. That's a lot of black sand for a little pan. But not a single speck of gold. Well, I'll just keep poking around and I'll come back when I find some color.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
There's so much black sand, but not a single speck of gold. Well, I've been poking around at fast-moving water and these gravel bars, but I'm finding black sand, but no gold. Maybe they got it all the first time. Now, the thing about the Zumbro River, it's mostly entirely privately owned land. Not a lot of public land on it. But luckily for you, I got more than one spot to try, so I'll move on out, and we'll hopefully find some color today. Isn't that the thing? As soon as I try this skit, the cloud comes. Hang on. Do we get it? Get it? It's like a guy getting color, tanning. So this next spot, there's all these little steps, these little rock benches, and they look like they're man-made. But I'm gonna poke around here. I don't see any good gravels, but now I really doubt there's any gold in that black sand there. But I'm gonna test. Find gold in the black sand of Lake Superior. Maybe there's gold in the black sand in the Zumbro. Just a little black sand. No gold, I'll keep testing. So why do I think these benches are man-made? Well, I use the principle of intelligent design. We can observe natural phenomenon. Water flowing moves rocks. But the natural order that the water produces is more random, kind of a jumbled up mess like that. However, when you start to see ordered structured, it's like this. Could nature produce that? Possibly. But then when you see another one, and another one, and another one, it kind of goes beyond what we would expect nature to be able to produce. Don't ever tell me it's not scientific. We use it in every principle like this or archaeology or any other. But when people talk about life, they say, oh, that's not scientific. You can't talk about that. It's as scientific as any other observation. Oh, and if you say you can't apply that to life, sure you can. You can observe the natural order of elements coming together, and you can look at the DNA molecule, the life molecule, and how it is constructed and built. It does not coalesce, it does not assemble. It has to be built by a complex order of machinery.
You are looking at an assembly line of amazing miniature biochemical machines that are pulling apart the DNA double helix and cranking out a copy of each strand.
You are observing a factory that builds the life molecule. And without that factory, you have no life. There, of course, was a creator. Look at this place. Some people say life grew on the backs of crystals.
How did we get from an inorganic world to the world of the cell?
Well, one popular theory is that it might have started off on the backs of crystals.
No way.
Interesting sermon.
Anyway, back to prospecting. So this kind of looks like just a sand-choked river. I can't find any good gravels. I'm just finding sand and no gold. So we'll move on to the next spot. Yep, man-made. Our next spot is an absolutely beautiful gravel bar. I feel good about this one. Now we got our first sign of color. That may be the smallest speck of gold I've ever found. There's my finger for scale. It is such a tiny speck I can barely see it, but at least it means there's gold here. So I'm gonna poke around and see if I can find a bigger string. Finally found a piece I can actually see. Finally, a better sized flake. So I found some more specks. So it seems like the farther out I go, the better the gold is getting. So with that information, I'm gonna get a bucket and classify one down. Broken glass. You know what that means. That's a big piece of quartz. I think I'm gonna start keeping these. A little bit of clay worked its way down that rock. Maybe the gold worked its way down that rock. So when I look through the tailings, I can see a lot of different types of glacial deposit. Here's granite, a couple pieces of granite. This is a very green rock, looks like it's full of epidote, maybe metamorphic. That's, don't know what that is. And there's some limestone and some quartz chunks. Even looks like there's some banded iron formation pieces. That looks like iron formation to me. So, just little tricks, little gifts that the glaciers brought down. And hopefully there's some gold in there too. So I got a partial bucket here. I'm gonna speed pan that down and see what we got. Got my top potato scooper today. All that gold to the bottom, all the blonde sand on top. Strip it off, and then when I see the black sand, I dump more on. You can get through pans pretty quick this way. Maybe even faster than a sluice, depending on how good of a panner you are. All the gold should stay in the bottom of the pan, if gravity's still working, which I think it is. So that bucket's panned down, it's all in here. There's a fair amount of black sand, but there better be some gold in there if I'm gonna keep digging. Well, there is some gold. I'm not sure enough to keep me digging though. So in that 5-gallon bucket, wasn't full, but we panned it all down and we got about 6 tiny little specks. What is that? This looks like some kind of worm. Gross. Well, we proved there's gold in the river. However, I think there's better ground. This isn't anything that would start a gold rush, so the presence of it is good, but I'm gonna keep searching for a better spot. So the last place I wanted to check out doesn't really look that good. There's mud banks, deep water, no gravel, and no gold. I don't think we'll spark a new gold rush anytime soon. I'm sure there's a lot of good spots on this river, but most of it is owned by private land, so maybe you're one of the owners. Grab a pan and go check it out. Other than that, I think it's slim pickings. Now, do I really think they were making $6 a day in gold back in the 1800s? No, I don't. Pretty skeptical about that kind of thing, and that just kind of seems outlandish for these parts. But prove me wrong if you can. I did get a little in my snuffer jar, so let's go home and do a snuffer dump. All right, we're back. Quick snuffer dump. Let's see what we got. And that's it. There's our Minnesota Gold Rush cleanup. Still got to add that to the lifetime collection. Every little bit adds up. Well, at least we didn't get skunked. Not much to show for it, but it was fun getting a few specks. Thanks for coming along. Come on back for the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.